So apparently Scotland does those baby boxes, just like they do in Scandinavian countries. Yeah. Right. So apparently now Scotland is doing these things that they do in, I know for sure they do it in Finland. I also think other Scandinavian countries, when a baby is born, the family gets this big box and it is full of everything that a baby would need in the first year, like everything. It's ridiculous. It's full. And the box has a little mattress in the bottom of it and it doubles as like,
are you not entertained?
Yeah, he says, I kind of feel like that. So the box is a bassinet. And this one woman who's in Scotland who has a YouTube show, people were questioning why her baby is always in this box. First of all, her baby is like this big and the box is plenty big, but they give them that to use it as a bassinet. That's the whole point of it. But we don't get anything. You know what we get when you have a baby in this country?
$10,000 bill.
You get a huge bill, and then they give the only gifts you get are brand promotions for things like Enfamil and Huggies and different things. All you get are things to encourage you to buy brand products. You don't get anything. What they send you in these countries in those boxes, none of it is brand stuff. None of it. It's all just stuff that a baby needs. It's not promoting anything, which I also thought was, that was the other thing. There was no promotion about it.
If you want to know how we're losing to China, I'm going to show you now why they talk about banning TikTok, because this is how kids are raised in the East.
Yeah, wait, but let's give this a little bit of an introduction, because I saw this, and something that bothers me is our lack of give a shit. When I say like in our public education for arts, music, to me, when you get rid of arts and music, you're screwed. As a society, as a civilization, you're just screwed. And it is without a doubt that kids that do those things do better, and how it fosters. And we not only have cut budgets on it, but even when we had it, it was so like teaching drones. You would get like, here's what we're making today. You need to have put this many things here and this many things here. Like, we teach our kids to literally be cogs. Like, this is ridiculous. And so this came up, and this is an art class in China. This is why we're losing.
So when people complain about the fact that Asians have the highest per capita of annual income, you can see a culture that actually emphasizes learning skills and being productive, and not just being glued to this all day long.
This is unbelievable to me. And this, no, seriously, when I saw this, it was very clear. This is why we lose, because our kids don't get this. Our kids don't get anything like this.
What's even more amazing is when you think about, why do they want to ban TikTok? Because they don't want you to see that other parts of the world are infinitely more efficient than we are. Now, China happens to be probably an exception in many ways, because Asian cultures do tend to emphasize being of great knowledge and learning skills and constantly.
No, it's not just China. Do you know, like in their schools,
I'm just seeing as an example.
Yeah,
I'm not saying
there are schools in Scandinavia where kids don't even go into a classroom. There's places where until third grade, kids are not supposed to learn at a desk. Little people. Mm-hmm. Little people are supposed to learn through play and exploring and adventuring. I saw something, I don't even know what country it was. It was somewhere in Scandinavia. And the kids were outside in raincoats playing in the mud in the rain. That's what little people need to be doing. Little people do not need to be sitting at a desk for 6 hours straight. Oh, well, there's that. But so when I see things like this, it's like, there's no wonder why our kids are so stunted here. And taking away art is huge.
And then, of course, Norway's educational system. So listen,
Absolutely.
a lot of systems do, but not ours.
They first of all, what they've done also, and I know in Finland, one of the things is they no longer teach subjects. They teach through doing, they teach through existence, which is how we're supposed to learn. Our entire educational system in this country, how we teach kids at desks, raising hands, all of that stuff is to create manufacturing workers. All of that is to create cogs in an industrial machine. We do not teach kids to be independent thinkers. We do not teach kids to have like any sort of like thinking outside the box at all. Everybody has to fit in the box. And that's a problem. And clearly in China, they're doing an infinitely better job in their primary schools. I know ours are horrible here. Our kids, and when my kid was in elementary school, and my kid, 24, so not that long ago, and they already only had broken down the specials because of budget cuts to the point where every 8 days they got music, every 8 days they got art, every 8 days they got PE. Like it was a rotation because they could only afford to have so many special teachers because of budget cuts. So I think children should be having an art every day. And the fact that they should also be having PE every day, not just recess.
I've always said it's probably the greatest indictment against Trump. The fact that he was so vehemently against the arts, does not seem to care about that at all.
Well, he is a prime example. People like him and somebody like him of someone who is the most, he's not an antichrist. He's the anti-art. Like this is the guy who has, I can't imagine any appreciation for anything creative whatsoever.
No, and Trump is also an example of somebody who has basically spent his entire life only thinking about money. That's it. It's the only thing he thinks about. How do I make more money?
Well, those people in China with those kids, that's not how they think.
No, it's not. But in fact, our culture is one of the only in the world that does think like that. And that's why it's such a detriment. Because arts is important. Now, unfortunately, the arts that we get portrayed or that is shown to us in our culture is the type of arts that people don't want to be a part of. They don't want to be a part of stuffy society and art galleries. We're talking about creativity. There is art in photography. There is art in drawing and painting. These things are rapidly being taken away.
Where do I get that? Do I know him personally? No, Metal, I don't. But I've been watching him since the 80s. And I got to tell you, I haven't seen anything that resembles art appreciation.
How about the fact that Trump is the first president who didn't have a dog?
That is weird.
That is weird.
That's weird. And I question. And had a child in the White House. So it wasn't like he didn't have a kid or something like, where you.
Now, herein lies the problem. And Brian is correct about this. Because as people still think that the problem is Trump and Harris, that is not the problem. The problem is people like the DeVos family. Did Betsy marry into this? I think she did. So the Amway fortune. They are some of the biggest political donors. Now, granted, they are primarily for the GOP. But this is an example. This is one of the things that Trump did in his first term that was terrible. You appoint Betsy DeVos as the head of education? A person who only thinks that it should be a for-profit industry.
Well,
that's the type of shit that when you get down to the brass tacks about policy and issues that matter, that's something that you can't deny. Now, do I think Trump gave a fuck one way or the other? No, probably not. But you know what? Betsy DeVos, she's got a lot of money. She gives a lot of money. Totally got to give her a good
we don't want to educate people. Because if we really wanted to educate people, people wouldn't be fighting about the idea of extending primary school 4 more years. Because that's what I think. Stop calling. We don't even have to call it tuition-free college.
Jules couldn't have said it better. The whole point of dismantling the education system is to make you a cog in the machine.